Well, welcome to Tuesday's edition of Take 5. This week we are talking about, and last week and next week too, we're talking about the life of Noah, and we're dealing with the thought, faith like Noah. Because I really believe that's probably one of the best examples of faith that is complete in itself that you and I could have as believers in Jesus Christ. Now, as we looked at some scripture yesterday from Matthew 24, Jesus had some things to say about Noah. And the Bible tells us that as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be at the time of the coming of the Son of Man. So we see those two parallel worlds there. And so this itself intensifies the fact that we really should learn something about the faith that this man Noah had. So to help us properly understand and see the magnitude of what Jesus was saying there in Matthew 24, I want to spend the next few days trying to answer some questions that will help clarify this thing. First of all, today, let's talk about what life was like before the flood. I think that's necessary because Jesus said, as it was, so it will be. So let's see what it was like before the flood, and that will give us an idea of what we're seeing today, and we'll know that it's just like it was then. So things are setting up for the return of the Lord, just like they were setting up for the flood. Now, people have this tendency to want to think that before the flood, mankind was kind of naive and prehistoric and very primitive. They have this picture of ignorant people that dwelled in caves and had no intelligent form of communication. On the contrary, when you study the times, you'll find out that life was as advanced then as it is today. Sure, we have some things that they did not have, but for the times, life was as advanced as it is now. Matthew 24:38, as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah entered into the ark. Now, when you examine that world of Noah's day, you'll find that people were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage and buying and selling and continuing in all the usual activities of human life. Life was just going on and advancing as it normally should. Children were being trained, businessmen made deals, farmers tended their crops, carpenters and stone workers built cities. I mean, life was moving on. And everyone during that period was either too evil or seemed to be too busy to pay attention to this crazy preacher that's out in the wilderness building this boat. Now, Luke also recorded this same scenario, Jesus' words talking about Noah, but he included some more words that Jesus said about a man named Lot. Now, Lot lived about 550 years after the flood, and you're familiar with his situation. It was almost the same as Noah's. Noah lived in an evil time, and God provided a way out. Lot lived in an evil place, the cities and the surrounding areas of Sodom and Gomorrah, and God issued a warning and provided a way for him to get out before God judged that. But I want us to listen to what Jesus said there. Luke 17:26, he said, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will also be in the days of the Son of Man. They ate, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark and the flood destroyed them all. Likewise, as it was also in the days of Lot. Now listen to what he said here. They ate, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built. But on the day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even so, it will be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. So we get this picture, and the Bible is very clear that there was a lot of evil during both of these time periods, just like there is today. But when you read this passage, it seems that Jesus is also saying something else about those people, and it should be a picture of us today, and it is. These people were consumed and focused on sensual and worldly things more so than the things of God. Now, none of the things that Jesus listed were necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong with eating and drinking and getting married. There's nothing wrong with planting and building and advancing and training children. There's nothing wrong with having ambition. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with being a part of an advancing society. There's nothing wrong today with enjoying the things of this world and participating in them. There's nothing really wrong with these things. They're not sin to themselves until we misprioritize them and we get them ahead of God. Then when we get them ahead of God, we start breaking all kind of commandments like covetousness and having other gods before the Lord and not keeping the Lord's day holy. We start breaking all kind of commands when we start misprioritizing these things. Now there's this old Latin phrase that is pronounced Lickitus paramus omnis. And that phrase just simply means lawful things will undo us if they are unlawfully managed. So basically what that means is these things that are lawful and legal and okay for us to do, none of these things are essentially evil. They're not wrong until we get them out of order and mismanage our affections for them. When we get them ahead of God, when we get them ahead of God's will, when money owns us instead of us owning the money, then it becomes a problem and we end up just like the people of Lot's day and just like the people of Noah's day, proving the words of Jesus, as it was in the days of Noah, as it was in the days of Lot, so it will be at the time of the coming of the Son of Man. Let me read a passage to you from 1 Corinthians 7. Paul says the important thing to remember is that our remaining time is very short, and so are our opportunities for doing the Lord's work. For that reason, marriage, happiness, sadness, or wealth should not keep anyone from doing God's work. He said there's nothing wrong with marriage, nothing wrong with happiness, nothing wrong with sadness and grief, nothing wrong with wealth. Just don't let it stand in the way of you doing the Lord's work. Then verse 31, it's really powerful. He said those in frequent contact with the exciting thing the world offers should make good use of their opportunities without stopping to enjoy them, for the world in its present form will soon be gone. So basically he's telling us use the things of this world. Participate in the things of this world. If they're not against Scripture, it's absolutely legal and lawful for you to participate in them and have ambition for them. But don't stop along the way. Don't stop serving God. Don't stop participating in the work of the kingdom to participate in a world system that is fading away day after day, and soon it's going to all be gone. That's what he's telling us. So I believe, as it was in the days of Noah, it's just like that today. Well, hey, it's been good being with you today. I've got to get out of here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Wednesday's edition of Take 5. Until then, God bless you and have a great and glorious day.